my amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you are connecting from. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you so much and remain blessed. Whenever you look my video, whenever you watch my video, share the video to all platforms. Share it to family and friends. Share it in your WhatsApp group so that people can get information on what is happening in the contraption called Nigeria, mainly against the Biafrans, against the Duduas, against the indigenous people in the contraption called Nigeria. I try as much as possible to set the record straight. I don't preach hate speech. I don't speak against people. I set the record straight. The only important thing I do here is to make sure that the plight of the people remains on the front burner and the world will know the true story of what is going on in the contraption called Nigeria.
Since the assumption of office of this administration in 2015, the Buhari administration promised to end the insecurity in the land, especially in the northeast region, where Boko Haram at the time were ravaging that region. Insurgents have made their trade a customized institution. The government said it will not spare anything in ensuring safety of Nigerians. Insecurity has since spread to other parts of the country. Other than the northeast, activities of bandits in the northwest and parts of the north-central region have intensified. The southeast is grappling with unknown gunmen and those who are killing and kidnapping people. And kidnapping has now been raging across the country, particularly mass abduction in schools and communities. Zamfara, Kaduna State have a bad taste of this kind of situation. Well, with this, the Buhari government has jacked up its expenditures for security and has spent almost 12 trillion naira in just about 7 years on security. Most of these these budgets are more than that of education and health put together. But the nation still experiences a spate of attacks on innocent killings. Take a look at the history of budgets since 2015 for security in Nigeria. And you see the progression. From 2015, it was less than 1 trillion. 2015, it went to 1 trillion in 2016. But what you see as of 2022, it's now 2.4 trillion naira. That is how much Nigeria is spending on security. Is about 15% or more of our annual budget in the nation. Now, let's get talking, everyone, shall we? I have to dissect these issues for us. A former military officer, Group Captain Sadiq Shehu, here with me in Abuja studio. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you, Shehu.
And a security scholar, someone who has written widely on the issues of insecurity in the northeast region of the country, especially the activities of Boko Haram. He's a fellow at the Tony Blair Institute in London. Mr. Bulama Bukati joins us from London. Thank you so much, Mr. Bukati, for joining us tonight on the program. Let's get started.
Thank you, Chairman.
And perhaps let me get your view, Mr. Bukati, if you can hear me. What do you suppose is the problem? We thought that things were simmering and perhaps the activities of these bandits are on the low. All of a sudden, in 1 week, we saw mass abduction of people on a train, the attack on the train, and also abduction we saw in some other parts of Kaduna State. The question a lot of people will also be asking, why Kaduna State? Can you give an answer? Can you figure out what could have been the cause of recent attacks that we've seen?
The cause of recent attacks shown is not anything different from the causes of the attacks we know previously. And you are right that we saw the situation getting a lull or becoming a bit calmer in the past few weeks or months, but then we saw these big attacks now. But this is not isolation and it is not a surprise. Neither is the train attack a surprise. They experimented a few months ago with the train attack that did not succeed. And then we saw another military precision attack that now happened. As to why, I mean, it is happening at this time, like I said, I mean, it is typical of the Nigerian security architecture. It is not that you have activity every day in the same scale. It is that you would have a big attack one day. All of us, the politicians, journalists, analysts, and everyone gets talking. And then after a week, we forget. They go and, organize or orchestrate another attack and then, roll it out. And that's what they have been doing, unfortunately, over years. But when you ask about the problem, for me, the major problem of insecurity is not manpower. It's not lack of equipment, even though these are problems. The major problem for me is lack of leadership. It's lack of policy, lack of strategy at the federal level. And that's why you see each governor doing as they want. That's why security forces and intelligence agencies are not working together. You and I know, all Nigerians know that the military does not work with the Nigeria police force. In fact, the average Nigerian soldier sees the Nigerian police officer as a rival, and the police officer sees the military as a rival. The DSS have been saying publicly for 2 years now that they have been gathering intelligence and they have been sending those intel to the right people, but their intel are not being acted upon. Nigeria has 17 security and law enforcement agencies, but there is no single person coordinating. There is no single policy bringing them together. Like you said, this situation has been deteriorating for 7 years in the Northwest. But until today, the federal government does not have a policy framework, a security policy framework on the Northwest. And so we are, it is just like traveling without a map, without anything to guide you in your travel and expecting that you would succeed. It won't happen that way. Things don't happen that way, especially security situations.
You have, before I come to Group Captain Sadiq, who's experience on the ground, as a scholar, Mr. Bukati, the activities, you have someone who has written so much and studied the activities of Boko Haram over the years. With what we're seeing in the activities of these bandits who have been tagged terrorists now, they are abducting, very similar to what Boko Haram also will do. They're killing and maiming. They're invading local communities, and also using locals for intelligence purpose. It does look like there is a similarity in the activities with that of Boko Haram. What can you tell us about these bandits? Are they Boko Haram in some sense, or what is it that we do not know?
Yeah, so you are right, but unfortunately, some of these attacks by the so-called bandits are worse than Boko Haram attacks. So, for example, when we talk about school abductions, Boko Haram's biggest school abduction was the abduction of the Chibok girls, 276 of them in April of 2014. Last year alone, bandits have abducted over 1,000 school children in 8 different attacks. And in each of these, there are credible reports showing that money was paid to free those children. And when money is paid, we know that they are going to use this money to get more arms, to get sophisticated, to get more supplies, and that's exactly what they are doing. According to the bandits, in one operation in Kaduna State, they were paid over 200 million naira. 200 million naira in one operation in the Catholic school that was attacked in Kaduna last year. And so you have a mass school abduction. Boko Haram has never been able to attack a train, although they would have wanted to. But bandits have been able to do that. Now, bandits that are able to attack a moving train with the kind of military precision that they did last week, what will stop them from attacking markets? What will stop them from attacking churches if they wanted? What will stop them from attacking mosques if they wanted? What will stop them from attacking schools? Now, but it is not only that. What will even stop them from scuttling Nigeria's 2023 elections and throw the whole country in confusion and chaos and disarray? Now, of course, we know that...
Apologies to cut in, Mr. Bukati. Would you say that these elements that were called bandits are perhaps more sophisticated than Boko Haram? Or more organized?
I would say they are more sophisticated, but they are getting increasingly sophisticated. And this is something we have warned Shewun. I have written 2 years ago, I have spoken 2 years ago that Boko Haram is infiltrating them, and that Boko Haram is able to teach them manufacturing of explosives, something bandits do not know how to do. And that if Boko Haram gave them that technology, then we are going to see carnage and chaos in the northwestern part of Nigeria. I hate to be right in these issues, but unfortunately, this is what is unfolding in the northwest. If we don't act decisively now, this train attack would only be the beginning of a new chapter in the bandits' carnage in Nigeria. And so we know that they are learning from Boko Haram, but we also know that Boko Haram is active in the northwestern part of Nigeria and in the north central. No group has claimed responsibility now. Governor El Rufai claims that it is Boko Haram, that it was Boko Haram that planned and launched the attack. We don't know for sure, but we can't rule out that possibility. Boko Haram has been active in Kaduna, in Niger, in Zamfara, and other places of the northwest and the north central. Unfortunately, governments were too slow to acknowledge that fact.
No, but let's get it clearly. This is perhaps the first time we'll be hearing such, and it's news to my ears, that Boko Haram have been playing active role in some part of the northwest region. We thought that they were reduced and pushed to the northeast region. Are you saying that Boko Haram have infiltrated this part of the northwestern and north central region of the country?
Definitely they have infiltrated. Number one, we know that Ansaru, a faction of Boko Haram that has been inactive until January last year, has been in the northwest for 10 years now. Since 2012, when they were formed, they were pursued by Shekau, who saw them as rebels, and therefore they defected to the northwestern part of Nigeria, and they lived mostly in Zamfara state. We know that for sure, but they were inactive from 2013 when they launched attacks and I can give you a list of attacks they perpetrated. But it is not only them now. The ISIS affiliate, Islamic State West Africa Province, in November of 2019, claimed an attack in Sokoto on a police station in Sokoto, and they said they orchestrated that attack from Niger and launched the attack in Nigeria. It is not only that. The Ansaru faction has been acknowledged by the Nigerian military itself. It has been putting out information saying they have killed so number of Ansaru fighters in Kaduna or in Niger. And Ansaru is a faction of Boko Haram. There are three factions: the Shekau faction, which is called Jazz, the Islamic State West Africa Province, and Ansaru. And so they are definitely active, two factions of Boko Haram. But even the Shekau faction has been putting out videos since January last year of places that look like Niger State, and they have been claiming that they are active in Niger State.
All right, quickly, because I would love to come to the Abuja studio here, based on some of the insight that you have provided tonight, and get the thoughts and the expertise of Group Captain Sadiq Shehu. But just in a few seconds, if you can tell me, you've highlighted and made mention of lack of coordination between or amongst the security agencies. So what then is the role of the National Security Advisor, the Office of the NSA, has been coordinated by the NSA himself at the moment, Babangida Mungunun. The NSA office, we thought that he coordinates all the security agencies.
The NSA is a political appointee, and you know the military and even the police will not listen to a political appointee. And if you have listened to the NSA's interview on BBC Hausa last year, in which he complained that billions voted for security hardware have gone missing under this administration, you know that he is frustrated, you know that he isn't being listened to. And when you look at what the military is doing and what different state governments are doing, today we are talking about Kaduna. The governor of Kaduna is in panic mood. But 3 months ago, it was the governor of Niger. But today, the governor of Niger is silent because he thinks Kaduna's problem is not his problem. The governor of Zamfara is quiet. The governor of Sokoto is quiet because they are not united. They are not coordinated. When one governor is in panic, the rest keep quiet. And then the next time, their own state will be running and they will be crying while other governors are quiet.
Let me come to our Abuja studio here with Group Captain Sadiq Shehu. You heard some of those. He's a scholar. He writes so much. He researches about these issues. Can you comment on some of those things that he has said? Perhaps give us an insight on why Kaduna State? We've seen so much of the activities of these terrorist elements in that state.
Well, thank you very much, Shehu. Now, straight off, Mr. Bukarti, I have what he said. I start from the issues he raised about the problem of Nigerian security. It's not numbers, it's not equipment. With due respect, I will slightly disagree with him. There is a problem of numbers when you're talking of the military. A research has been done. You know, there is no specific formula which says a country of such size or such population should have such number. But what you do is international comparison. And international comparison of countries with similar population, with similar area, with similar GDP, even among our neighboring countries of Niger, Cameroon, Chad, you will find that Nigeria is underserviced as far as the size of our armed forces is. We are a country of 160 up to 200, depending on source, million people, and then our total strength of the armed forces is not up to 150,000. All ranks, that is Army, Air Force, and Navy. So certainly, and we're a country, or like other countries, even neighboring countries, that have a reserve force, an official reserve force. We do not have a reserve. So this conflict caught us with inadequate numbers. There is no doubt about that, that the numbers we have compared to our size of country, the size of problem we're having is not enough. There is also the problem of equipment. I have seen the budget, and to be fair to this government, in terms of budgetary allocation, in terms of purchases, it has done maybe better than many other regions in the past.
Maybe we should put that figure, that table again up,
yes,
so that people can see the table on the history of the budget since 2015 on security in Nigeria. All right, there it goes.
So you can see the, the incremental leap and frogs of what we spend on security. However, as a security analyst, I will also caution on using just mere numbers. Because in security and defense, what matters most sometimes is not how much you spend, but how well you spend it. It's possible to pour all this money into it. If you don't follow the money, if projects or equipment that are actually needed by the fighting forces are not decent, you may spend this money, you will not get this. And I want to advise the federal government to really look at what is this money being used for. We have to talk frankly, because our country is challenged. When you have a country that is basically at war with bandits, with insurgents, you would think that security budget should be channeled towards increasing operational capacity. Unfortunately, it is at this time that we find the National Assembly and the executive branch of the armed forces opening universities, building bigger, barracks, which are not wanted. So these are some of the issues that we have to look at. This is what I mean by it is not actually what you spend. Right. It is how well you spend it. So there are issues, or like what Dr. Bukarti said, I think there's still an issue of numbers and equipment we are not adequate.
Right, just a moment.
Let me finish, please.
No, okay.
And in the final analysis, he talked about leadership. Now, I can only look at leadership in terms of lack of oversight. When you
don't think there's a problem of coordination?
There is that. It can still be subsumed under the leadership. What I'm saying is that, we're in a democracy. Unfortunately, what I see happening, because of our history of military regime, there is tendency for the civilians in the executive branch and the legislative branch to do a hands-off. I was on an interview on BBC 2 days ago with a national legislator. He claims, and I'm not saying claim, he brought figures, that throughout his time from 2018 to now, they have been releasing money 100%, because there's always this allegation that sometimes what is budgeted is not what was released. But to be fair to him, he was honest enough when he was asked, are you sure the money was being used? His answer was that he's not part of military administration, he doesn't know anything. So you see a problem. Right. If you are giving people money...
Because we're due for a break.
Yes,
and I'd like to come back when we come back from the break. We've since been joined by Professor Usman Yusuf, former Executive Secretary of the NHIS, who is going to also be giving us his views on some of these national issues. We'll take a break, everyone. And when we come back... Let's continue with our conversation. My panel tonight, Professor Usman Yusuf, a former Executive Secretary of the NHIS and a member of the Northern Elders Forum, and as well as Group Captain Sadiq Shehu, a retired military officer, and in London is a security researcher and expert, Mr. Mohammadu Buhari. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on tonight. Before I come to Prof, Group Captain, give us a sense of when, I was asking the question about Kaduna State. Why Kaduna State? Why are we seeing much of these activities happening in Kaduna State? Is there any reason in particular?
Well, maybe we look at historical reasons. If you are taking of the north, Kaduna historically has been the center of northern Nigeria. Apart from that, even in current discourse, like people have been quickly able to point, also even making more what can I say, more celebrity status to the attackers. Kaduna is probably the most garrisoned town in the whole of Nigeria. If you look at the security, installations, agencies, training schools.
How many do we have there?
I do not know, but
we have the Defense Academy.
Defense Academy. You have the Armed Forces Command and Staff College. You have the Defense Industries Corporation. Nearby, you have the Kachia Artillery School. You have the Air Force Base. You have the 1D headquarters.
Shouldn't those be a deterrent to this
exactly
attacks?
So sometimes that's why I see this particular attack on Kaduna as a sort of not only as a sort of a prestige attack on the side of the attackers, because the point they are making, if you can hit Kaduna with all this array, remember, including the attack in NDA itself and carrying one officer and killing one other. So I think more than in those particular attacks, more than money or reward or as to collect ransom, I think it was more as a prestige attack to say this. And unfortunately, the point has been made, is that we can raise above your security architecture, we can hit you anywhere. Unfortunately, they have made that point.
All right, now, let's, Prof, let me get your view on what is happening in Kaduna. I mean, I asked the question earlier from Mr. Bukati that we thought that things were simmering. All of a sudden, we're seeing a rise. What could have been the cause?
Good. Sharon, thank you for having me. Tell the world how you got me here. Siren blaring.
Yes, absolutely. It was a tough one getting you.
Good. Thank you very much. But seriously, Nigerians, we need to take a deep breath. We are in a very serious situation. The security situation in this country has gotten out of hand. I'm a practical man. I'm a doctor. And Shegumi, we are doctors. We dropped this. Instead of sitting in the office and hearing it, we went to the lion's dens. We visited 8 states, deep in the forest, 5 in the frontline northwest state, and 3 in the north central state. I met all of these war commanders. Why did we go? The reason we went was to listen. Martin Luther King said, violence is the language of the unheard. We are here talking to ourselves. We have a whole set of people that we are not talking to, that they are carrying arms against us. And we're here editorializing and saying, we don't know them. They don't know us. You don't know your enemy, the enemy you're fighting, you're just fighting in the dark. And that's exactly what we're doing. We went to listen. What we had all over, all the problems are local, solutions must be found locally. In none of these 8 states we went to did we hear any of the bandits tell us they have a problem, a gripe against the Nigerian military or against the federal government. The biggest problems are always local. We need to understand it. And now this is the danger. In the last week, we've had sleepless nights. I'm very sad. What we have been scared would happen has happened. That is the nexus and the unholy alliance between bandits and ISWAP.
Is that happening?
Absolutely. The moment we saw that train attack, we knew this was not the job of the ragtag bandits we saw.
Visited.
This is the modus operandi of ISWAP. Maiduguri, the capital city of Borno, has not had electricity now for 14, 15 months because Boko Haram, ISWAP, they blew the transmission line into Maiduguri twice. They are after infrastructure. These guys are not after that. They went to the airport, and now they're blowing up major infrastructure. On the highway, they are literally blockading the city of Kaduna. You cannot go safely by road, by rail, or by air. So what is it? They are literally picking infrastructure.
Why are they interested in Kaduna? Do you know?
No, okay. And this is when we came back. We've had experiences in my life that we've never had. We dropped everything and we went back to school. We went back to school. We listened to them. We listened to their major mortal enemies, the Ensakais. We listen to emirs, we listen to their ROs, we come back, we listen to the governors, and we reach out to the hierarchy of the military and we reach out to the hierarchy of the police and the DSS. This thing cannot be won by any one party.
What is the grievance?
Okay.
This bandits?
The grievances have now morphed into criminality. There are legal Fulani herders that have lived there. I'm Fulani. My folks are herders in the forest that have generational grievances that now these bandits have taken, just like anywhere you have criminals that will take somebody else's grievance for their criminality. We need to tease out the difference between legal Fulanis, like my folks in the forest, and these bandits that are not representing them, that are criminals, that are using their grievances as their reasons for doing what they're doing. When we go to the forest, we sit down on the carpet and they surround us. And Sheikh Gumi hears, listens to all of them. And he's the first person that stands up and speaks to them in the sternest of voices. We've heard your grievances. Your grievances are real, they are genuine, but they are no reason. There are no reason for what you are doing. This is not us. This is not our upbringing. This is not our culture. This is not anywhere in our scripture. Just the way we come to you, we go back to our leaders, our governors, and hear and tell them everything. But whatever you're doing, your grievances are no reason for what you're doing. Killing, raping, maiming, and burning cities. Nobody, no scripture, no culture, no cleric will accept what you're doing. He says that in the sternest of voices. We need to continue having engagements. And I saw that clearly. They listened to clerics. Turuji, we saw Turuji, we saw Dogogide, we saw Kachala Ali. They said they would not have gathered if it wasn't for a cleric. They did not necessarily know Sheikh Gumi. If it was a politician or anybody, they would. There is a loss of confidence, loss of faith in the political process and our politicians because they are disconnected from the realities of our people. We need to get people that can talk to these people, that they will listen. Will it take one engagement, 2 engagements, 3 engagements? No. It will take concerted effort of everybody.
Since it's taking a criminal dimension,
correct.
How do we, can we turn the hands of time?
Right. Okay. So now the danger and the fear we are fearing is coming, that this marriage between ISWAP and bandits is going to be the most lethal combination this country has ever seen. And it will be an existential threat to the survival of this nation if we do not face it completely. And there is nowhere in the history of warfare that these conflicts have been won on the battlefield. None. None. Any real military person will tell you the purpose of the military is to enable, is to bring an enabling environment for dialogue to happen. But this thing cannot be won militarily. And the reason, people need to understand and ask the question, why hasn't Boko Haram and ISWAP penetrated the Northwest and the North Central? The Northwest particularly over the last 13 years. It wasn't by accident or it wasn't for lack of trying. They tried severally in Kano, tried to bomb the emir of Kano, but the main reason was the proactive and intense behind the scene hard work of clerics and traditional rulers in these zones that preach to their followers not to follow this twisted ideology that this Boko Haram are coming. They were going around the Northwest and the North Central long before they picked up arms. But the clerics and the traditional rulers of these regions preach seriously to their followers not to accept it. Now they have gotten a foothold where they've been trying to get a foothold for the last 13 years. We need to go back to where we were. Traditional rulers and clerics need to be engaged to come into this. The military will never win this. The politicians will never win this.
So we're talking about solutions now. And let me bring in these aspects of it does look like some leaders are frustrated about this situation. And I could read frustration in the words of the governor of Kaduna State. And I'd like Mr. Buhari to come back into the conversation. Let me read again what Governor Nasir El-Rufai said. He said, and I quote again, I have complained to Mr. President, and I swear to God, if action is not taken, we as governors will take actions to protect the lives of our people. If it means deploying foreign mercenaries to come and do the work, we will do it to address these challenges. Mr. Buhari, these are the words that we quoted for, the governor of Kaduna State has said. What's your view on using mercenaries? Can we go that route?
And first, showing El-Rufai's statement or outburst is echoing the frustration of many Nigerians. Many Nigerians have seen how Nigeria is failing them and how they are suffering in human lives and in their property. And this is not a sustainable thing. We cannot continue in this way. But when it comes to the question of mercenaries, the first thing is that no governor, El-Rufai suggested that Northwestern governor will employ mercenaries. Our constitution is very clear that they cannot do that. That's unconstitutional. They do not have the power under our laws even to arm their own citizens to fight, because under the Firearms Act, governors do not have the power to issue license to carry weapons, especially military-grade weapons, which is needed in this fight. But number three, El-Rufai himself knows that. He knows that he doesn't have the constitutional power. But then who would have thought a politician will play to the gallery and do political posturing in an election year? Because that's what's going on, unfortunately. And this is not an issue we should be politicizing. El-Rufai's statement, even Minister Amechi's statement, clearly show that those in government, those in the ruling party, have now recognized or understood or are ready now to admit that the government solution is not going the way, to plan, and that the government is not winning the war against these people. When it comes to the question of numbers, which is something I raised in the beginning, of course, I said numbers do matter, and it is a problem, but that's not the biggest problem. And Group Captain gave an estimate of 150 forces. Of course, the estimate I have is 250,000 forces in the Nigerian Armed Forces. And you won't look at it from the Nigeria's own number, because there are countries that do not even have a standing military. What you need to measure that against is the number of the criminal and terrorists and the insurgents we are talking about. All the estimates show that there are less than 50,000. Why is a conventional military with the backing of the state, with all the equipment that they have, including the jets and all the equipment they have, and the knowledge and the intelligence gathering capacity that they have, why are they failing to defeat a military of less than 50,000? That's the question we should be asking ourselves. I completely agree.
Let me bring Group Captain Sadiq onto the solution.
Yeah,
mercenary. This is not the first time this country is going in that direction. Can we employ that again?
Well, when discussing about issues of mercenaries, I would like to call them private military contractors, because these are the two words. When you say mercenaries, sometimes it kills the debate, because the word itself, mercenaries, right from African Wars of Independence in Southern Africa, it acquired a negative connotation. So when you use mercenaries, you're already killing the debate, because I've given it a negative listing. As to issue whether they are used, even countries that are more resourced than Nigeria, they use private military contractors for various reasons. America, for example, prides itself as the global policeman. Sometimes if there is a war in which the United States is interested, but it is not strategic enough to put in American lives in the line, they do use these private military contractors. Now, again, when you say private military contractors, they give both war fighting capabilities and other support capabilities. You could decide what you want to do. The truth is that as of now, the way our military is equipped, numbers and equipment vis-a-vis the challenge they are facing, they really need assistance. Whether we should use these PMCs is a debate that we should not close. However, again, I'm with Bukarti on the Nigerian laws, because defense is under the exclusive list. There is no way a governor of any state, can go on his own to engage mercenaries. But if it is a debate that we have to look at, not to close the door. Do we think our military and security agencies can finish this within a reasonably short time? If the answer is yes, then we can continue trudging on. If, on the other hand, we believe our forces may win, but it's going to take a longer time. You talked about the defense, the money put in defense more than education and health combined. There's always this guns and butter debate. When you look at what you are going to pay the mercenaries over the years, what we have done on the graph that you showed, and what it will take these PMCs to help us, it may not be the whole operation they will take over. In any case, people make this mistake. When you hire a PMC, like I said, it's hiring your boyfriend. I mean your houseboy. You could tell your houseboy, don't enter into my bedroom, don't enter into my kitchen. You get the point?
But can it work?
It will. It will. It depends, because we are not a failed state.
You said what?
We are not a failed state.
Okay.
Because people bring issues of in Sierra Leone they plundered gold mines, diamonds, and the rest. It could happen where there's a failing government. I do not want to accept that Nigeria is a failed government. When they were brought in 2014, they worked under the supervision of the Nigerian armed forces. It's not as if they were, gallivanting all over the place. The military tells them where to go.
So, but
the military tells them the operations.
Did you read frustration in the words of Governor El-Rufai?
It's frustration.
Because he said if it's not taken, his colleagues in the Northwest will ensure that they employ mercenaries. He must have been talking from a deep sense of frustration, isn't it?
It is frustration. That's why we can forgive him for that frustration. But constitutionally, it's not a doable thing.
All right.
And in all over the world, sub-national structures like state and local governments cannot go on their own and invite. That is a sovereign responsibility of the federal government.
Prof, weighing on this one.
On
mercenaries. Is that a way? I mean, you were talking about solution. And some of the things that Governor El-Rufai said. He said that if the federal government is not taking action, himself and his fellow governors in the Northwest will go for deploy foreign mercenaries to come and do the work. Yeah. Is that the right way to go?
No, I mean, and that's El-Rufai doing what he does best. What does he do best? Talk and grandstand. This is political grandstanding, end of story. In an election year.
You don't think it's his own way of suggesting solution?
Let me finish. There's a political grandstanding in an election year. He knows he does not have that power to do that. He knows that 11th of March 2021, all security heads and the NSA met with the president, and the NSA came and briefed the nation about the result, that no foreign mercenaries, clearly. And Governor El-Rufai has had security issues in his state that he never does anything about.
You thinking? I mean, is that fair to say he never does anything?
Yes, I have taken him on by writing on newspapers. They have abducted school children, never said anything. We lost 5 of them. So, he and Honorable Minister Amechi are doing nothing but grandstanding. They are too clever by half. They are looking for an off-ramp to jump off this ship that they are part of. They are part of this government that has failed to secure the nation and protect its people. Now they are looking to blame somebody else. Oh, is the military, is that? Who in the world thinks in an election year any mercenaries thing will happen? In an election year, when they are looking, they're disconnected from our realities. They're scrambling for offices. Oh, this one says, oh, if you do not bring mercenaries, I'll do that. He does not have that power. They cannot even meet, all the northern governors could not even meet to do the basic simple things together as northern governors to protect our people. We went to Niger State. All the chemists there, close to the forest, are selling drugs. They're selling Tramal, Pentax, Bosca, and everything. Governors cannot even meet to do the simple things that fuel this banditry. And the governor is coming and grandstanding and saying, let's go bomb the forest, let's get mercenary. States are poor, so poor that after paying salary, there's not much left. Where are you going to get money to get mercenaries? Go back. All the state governors now, and the president said it when he had an interview with Arise. When the state governors come to meet him now with security, he tells them go back and deal with local security architecture. What is the local security architecture in the north and all over the country are the traditional rulers and the clerics. You as a governor, you don't deal with them. You're saying, oh, we'll bring this, is nothing but political grandstanding. And the chairman of the APC said as much when he was asked about the comments of these two gentlemen, Governor El-Rufai and Amechi. He said, do not use a knife to rip open your belly. He knows his political grandstanding. They are in this mess together as a government, and they must take full responsibility for not able to secure this country and protect our people. None of them is going to take an off-ramp and distance himself from this failure.
Let's close the program now. Allow Mr. Bukati, just in about 20 seconds, to give his final thoughts on this.
Yeah, sure. I was going to say I completely agree with Professor that what you need a developmental approach and as well as the military approach. But I want to emphasize that at this moment in time, what you need more than anything else is the military approach. You cannot go to the bush and be talking to people under the tree who are killing people and massacring women and children, setting them ablaze in buses, abducting children from their school for nothing. If these criminals have grievances, the people they are attacking in the train, in schools, setting women ablaze in buses, those women did not do anything to them, and therefore talking to them for amnesty should not be a trade-off for the military force that is needed. And the government, President Buhari, has to show leadership. He must get his act together, bring the governors together, bring security forces together, and confront this.
We're totally out of time, Mr. Bukati, and we need to go now. But I must sincerely thank my very experienced and my panel tonight for this thought-provoking conversation on the state of security in our country today. Mr. Mohammadu Buhari, a researcher and expert in security with the Tony Blair Institute in London. Thanks so much for your time tonight, and as well as Group Captain Sadiq Shehu, a retired military officer, and our very Professor Usman Shehu, former Executive Secretary of the NHIS. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming. And we do hope that our nation will be safer for whatever it's worth. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye for now.
Thank you so much for your patience to watch from the beginning to the end. I hope you have learned something from the video you have just watched. The video you have just watched is to bring information to your doorstep and for educational purpose. It is not to demonize anybody. Let us watch continuously and see who can be able to make a sense out of every nonsense we are seeing. We must continue. We move. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they say. They will kill us. We'll kill them. At the end of the day, Biafra is here. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please kindly subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so that you're notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you and remain blessed. Bye-bye. See you again.